Quality, not quantity.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
That's I was
First,
about to say.
for that to work, we would need to have quality. Welcome to Maker's Hustle, a podcast about turning your passion into a profession. This is episode 26 for Monday, January 9th, 2016. I'm your host, Bill Avulsi, and here are my co-hosts, Jeffrey Moore. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, what's going on, Bill? Hello, Amy.
Hey, hey, hey,
And
hey.
Amy Davis-Roth. Hey, Amy.
Hey. Hey. Hey, guys.
Just trying to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So before we get started, I want to take a moment to thank everyone on Patreon, but especially our top supporters, Luis Gonzalez and Ryan Ahoro, plus our newest patron, Daryl.
Hey,
Daryl
Daryl.
didn't specify a last name, but thank you, Daryl, and thank you all so much.
Thanks, Daryl.
Thank
You're
you,
awesome.
Daryl.
If you would like to support the show, check us out at patreon.com/makershustle. You can find our different reward levels there, and you can be part of the community that gets the show early if you need to hustle even faster than everyone else.
Yes.
Hey, can we give something away?
It's like a
Yeah, what
cheat
do you want to
code.
give away?
I want to give away a robot necklace with our little robot mascot or logo, whatever you
Okay.
want to call it.
All right, we can do that.
I would like to give that away. Pick a name. Do you
Just
have
any name?
I don't know. Do you have like a number system you can do so it's fair?
Yeah,
We're
hang
making
on.
Bill
I'll
work
just,
overtime this week.
I still got my little papers from the,
Oh, cool.
the pen giveaway.
But you got to put Daryl in
Yeah, I
there
was
now.
about to say
'cause there's a
add
note.
Daryl.
All right, I can do that.
Wouldn't it be awesome if he won first weekend?
The first week.
That'd be pretty cool.
He'd be like, hey, I should get out and come back in and win some every time.
All right, and our winner of the robot necklace is... Oh my goodness, it's Laura Kampf.
Oh,
Aw, yay!
good luck,
Laura,
Amy.
you won a necklace.
Laura!
Good luck with
That's
that
gonna-
shipping.
That's going to cost me. I regret it now.
Think twice about that.
well.
Forgot that one
Yeah.
was in there.
Don't forget
Yeah.
to support my Patreon, too.
Well, congratulations, Laura.
Congrats, Laura.
Because you won something from Amy, you'll probably get it before the podcast even comes out.
Yeah,
Oh, very
likely.
true.
I just need
true.
her address.
So I feel like I just talked to you guys, but what have you been working on since last time?
When did we talk? Friday?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Great job.
No, I'm serious.
All right.
I took a break this weekend because of the extra long weekend.
Well, all right. How about this then? What are you going to work on this week coming up?
So I have 2 meetings. Friday. Well, all right. Cheat code. My wife's parents are coming into town, and so I'm gonna be crazy busy. That's why we're shooting on an off day. But Friday I have 2 meetings, and I'm going to be hopefully getting this STEM program, start recruiting some kids so that we can get this thing going as soon as possible. My launch time is gonna be hopefully the first week in March, but you know, things are always up in the air.
Yeah.
Always up in the air. And I have something, it's going to be a part of my recommendation that I'll talk about a little bit later. That's also going to be what I'm going to be doing this week.
Okay. Amy, how about you?
I am working on all kinds of stuff, man. I'm working on hair clips. I think I mentioned last week that during the spring, like I'm always ahead of season, right? So I'm making stuff for the spring and the summer now. So I've been working on my hair clips. And so I make these little centerpieces out of ceramic.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have anything painted on the back, and they don't have the holes in them, but they have sort of like positive affirmation sayings in them and, you know, floral type stuff. I sort of veer away from anything too heavy handed or too political when I do the hair clips. I do a lot of fun stuff, but I am doing feminist hair clips because those like totally sold out last year. So I'm definitely making, they were great. I was so happy. Like I didn't think that they would do well, but I sold all my feminist hair clips. So there's really pretty flowers, and it just says feminist in it, and it's great. So I'm working on those. So they're in the process right now of where they're all on a rack drying.
Okay.
And I will hopefully bisque fire them tonight, and then I'll be able to start painting them this week. So that's pretty much what I'm doing right now.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, I am I'm repotting a bunch of houseplants, and I'm replacing a lamp because we replaced our dining room table. So I'm doing a lot of around the house stuff, or at least I'm trying to. I'm never really like caught up with that stuff. Never.
You never are. You never are.
Yeah,
Ever.
but I'm worse than you think.
Really?
Like by a lot. Yeah, I'm pretty bad. I'd like
So
to
what-
apologize to my
last night-
wife at this point.
Last
If it-
night at like 2 a.m., you guys, I couldn't sleep, right? So I did not even remember doing this until sometime, like about an hour ago. About an hour before recording, I was like, did you order a composter in the middle of the night last night, Amy? And I did. I did. And I ordered a book on how to compost. So for the listeners that don't know, I've gotten really into gardening, and I'm like self-taught. So now I'm going to be making my own fertilizer and my own soil. And I'm really excited about that because it's very environmentally friendly. But yeah, I did. I ordered like one of those big bucket composters, and it's going to go in my backyard. And I was reading all about how you got to layer it with like different layers of types of material and things you can't put in a composter, and how you're supposed to put bacteria in there and worms, and how that helps to create this like ultimate dark rich soil that you can then like sprinkle over your garden and everything grows better.
I always feel like they're overcomplicating that.
Are they? Well, no, because I had a composter when I first moved into this house. There's one on the front, and me and Johnny were like, oh, this can't be that hard. And one of our
You
friends
broke
had
it.
one. Yeah, no, yeah. Well, it's not broken. I mean, it's just ruined. Like, we were like, I think you need to put leaves in there. And so we put all these, like, leaves in there, and then we put grass in there, and it's just like a trash can. It's like a trash can full of stuff now. It didn't compost. It didn't make any dirt because we had no idea what we were doing.
Oh.
So it is actually harder than it sounds. But once you figure it out, it's not that hard. You're just
I
gonna
thought of
turn
what else
it-
I was doing. I remembered now.
What? What were you doing?
I am preparing to launch the whole like make a pen with no lathe challenge.
Oh, yeah.
But I need to launch it with another video. I can't just, I'm not just going to sit down and talk to the camera for a video because that's stupid. I'm not going to do that. So I need to make another pen with no lathe. So I have an idea of how I'm going to do that, and it's kind of goofy, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then, right. Okay. So my channel was very, very close to 2,000 subscribers. Like very close.
Yeah.
And it was New Year's Eve. And
Yeah.
I said, if I can get over 2,000 subscribers by midnight, I will commit to doing this really ridiculous project that I probably shouldn't commit to doing, and I'm going to tell somebody else to make sure that I can't back out of it. And so I told somebody else, and they immediately told everyone.
I love that person, whoever it is.
It was Jamie Page. Thanks for nothing, Jamie. I hate you.
No,
But-
that's awesome.
Yeah, so during the month of January, at some point, I need to make an Adirondack chair out of metal.
Oh, my God.
In the month
Yeah.
of January?
Yeah, so
Oh,
this month,
sheesh.
one of my videos has to be an Adirondack chair that I make out of metal.
Holy
Good luck.
crap.
I don't even know what an
Yeah.
Adirondack chair is, but it sounds
Okay,
hard.
you know those
and it being
those
out of
wooden
metal
like
sounds hard.
outdoor chairs?
Yeah.
Like the rockers?
They look like
Yeah.
sort of, but not
You gotta
really. They're- I
paint-
mean,
you
they're not
gonna-
rockers, but
Make sure you seal it or
I'ma
paint
just
it or
Google
something.
it's gonna be lacquered so it doesn't
Okay.
rust.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Jeff, I'll send you a picture later. But these
I'm
are very
already
like
on it.
traditional outdoor, like deck chairs,
Yeah.
And
It's gonna be
but
heavy.
they're always made out of wood.
Oh,
and so
these
I
are
was like-
nice. Out of
Yeah,
metal?
now make one of those out of steel because I'm an idiot, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
gonna do. This
That
one.
is a very unusual project. That you've
So it would have been too
It's,
easy to do it out of wood, right?
Yeah.
Well, that and I need to do more metalworking projects because I have a sponsor who sells metalworking equipment. So I've been trying to come up with ways to use it and incorporate that into my video, and this is like the excuse that I needed. I have all of this steel like in the garage that I haven't used because cutting it up with an angle grinder sucks. So I haven't been using it as much as I should, and I've been looking for a reason to do more welding and more fabrication, and this is it. I
you
have
have a
no more
torch?
excuses.
Do you have like a cutting torch?
I don't have a cutting torch.
Is it a
I
plasma?
have
What's it called?
well,
Plasma
there's
torch?
there is plasma. There's also gas. It depends on what you need. I don't have either of those. I have a giant bandsaw. Like you can just set it up to just chop stuff,
Yeah.
and it's much
Now,
easier.
do
than,
these fold?
No.
You should make one that folds.
Okay, I'm already making one out of metal. I'm not going to make it metal and folding.
And you
No.
should definitely put cushions on it because in the summer it's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
burn your butt.
Yeah,
I was
definitely.
thinking I was going to do the seat and the back out of wood, but then like the actual frame is metal. I don't know.
Okay.
It would look
I'll-
so
Yeah.
awesome if it
It
was
would look pretty cool.
if it could fold, and that way you could just whoop.
Jeff wants a folding chair. Maybe
It's
that'll be
gonna
next.
be so heavy.
I know. It's going to weigh a ton.
Yeah, it's
gonna
not
be
going
funny.
anywhere. It'll
So-
literally just stay on the couch, on the
Here's an
porch.
idea for you, Bill. I absolutely love your frames, and I had an ex-boyfriend that was a metal worker, and he used to make me these awesome steel frames. And what he would do is he would cut out stuff that sort of went with whatever I was painting. So it would be a frame, and then three-dimensionally, like, welded would be like a heart or a flower or whatever was in the painting, that sort of like popped out. So that might be fun for you to make for me for my birthday. Or something.
Okay.
That's metal that you could work with and make a video.
Yeah. So my goal for the month of January is to make an
Amy a
Adirondack
birthday
chair.
present.
No, is to make an Adirondack chair out of metal. And this Amy
it.
person keeps bothering me for stuff. I don't
Damn
know.
it.
So that seems like a nice transition right there. What are your goals? I mean, not just for
Wow.
January, but for the rest of the year.
Bill, that was so. That
Not
was
smooth.
so. That
was
was very
terrible.
smooth. I didn't. You walked me into that goal so easily. I didn't even see it coming. Like that was so smooth.
My goal is to get Bill to make me something by the end of the year.
That's
Ooh.
very easy to do.
I have to pay you, but without paying you.
Okay.
That's the tricky
That's
part.
a little
I
trickier.
gotta
That's
trick
the
you into
tricky part.
doing it.
Yeah, you're
Well, what you
Somehow.
got to do is you got to come up with a project that is interesting enough that I don't mind doing it.
And you
Because
won't
if it
need
feels like work, I won't do it.
Yeah, and you won't need it after it's done. You're like, what am I gonna do with this? I'll just give it to Amy. That's the trick.
So it has to be tiny.
Yeah.
Something very small.
All right. So, Bill, other than making the Adirondack chair, what else is on your list of things to do this year?
Well, on kind of a grander scale, my goal is I need to put out a project video every single week, like every week.
Ooh.
Because something that I've noticed in doing this whole agent thing, I've had a chance to look at a lot of YouTube channels a lot more closely than I have in the past, and not just where they stand right now, but their historical performance, because now that I'm talking to whoever owns them, I can see where they were, at what point, you know what I mean? Like, I have access to all that historical data.
The data,
and
yeah.
what I've noticed, the most important factor for growth on a YouTube channel is being consistent. Like, if you
Consistent.
put out a video a week, keep doing that every single week and make sure that your viewers know that, it's coming on this day. So, like, I know, for example, Laura Kampf, she just won the necklace, right? Her videos come out on Sunday. They come out on Sunday morning every single week. I know that. That's like Laura Kampf's got stuff coming out on Sunday. So, but that's part of why her channel took off the way that it did. It's also because she makes awesome stuff, but
Because she's
you don't
super
have
cool.
to. Yeah, well, that too. But like, even if your videos are more, you could be drawing something, you could be painting, you could be explaining how to fix a toilet. It doesn't matter. As long as you
Yeah.
are consistent with your content and you stick to a schedule, it'll
build,
happen.
You'll build a following. It's the same
Right.
with this podcast. It's the same with Patreon. Like, I make sure that I produce so much work. And, every week I have to put out new stuff. It doesn't matter what you're doing. But YouTube is a perfect example. And I remember you saying a little while ago that you were feeling like that was too much for you to do one video a week. So I think it's really, courageous and impressive that you're gonna go for it, because I do think
It's still
the right
too much.
decision.
It's still way too much, but I'm gonna find a way to do it anyway. So
Yeah, that's great. You really should. I mean, that's excellent advice, and it's true. No matter what you're doing, just
Yes.
do it consistently.
Yes,
Yeah.
and to be honest with you, if we're still friends next year, I'm gonna hold you accountable.
We're still gonna be friends.
No, I'm joking, but I'm
How are we
serious.
gonna
I was
replace
being
you?
sarcastic. I was being sarcastic about the friends part, but next year we're gonna look back at this
Yeah.
and we're gonna evaluate whether or not you did 52 videos.
Yeah, we'll have
We
a look.
can't replace Jeff. There's only like 5 black people in the maker movement.
Very true. Very true.
It's so sad, but
Yeah. Well, hey, they're
Like how
and trust
will we
me, how-
find a replacement?
it's very difficult. I can't even find the other 4. We're just the law of averages says there's got to be 4 others.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, what about you? What's your goal for the year?
First goal, the biggest goal that I have 2 goals. First goal is to get all of the people in my immediate circle to commit to investing. And commit to investing in, I want them to do the stock market just to get their feet wet, because I feel like that's like baptism by fire, whatever that I'm bad with the metaphors right now, but I want them to just jump in, take some risk, and experience that, and then we can start to talk a little bit more about different type of investing. So that's my first goal, and then the second goal is I just really need for this STEM program to go well this spring, so that we can figure out what works, what doesn't work, what we need to improve on, where can we, kind of pull back so that the next one could be awesome, so that I can start to get some big grant funding. Because, I mean, this coming out of my pocket, it's going to cost me a lot of bread, which is fine. I don't care, but I don't want to have to keep coming out of my pocket if I don't have to. I'm actually applying for a First Robotics grant. So if anybody, and I haven't reached out to anybody from First Robotics, but if anybody who listens to our podcast or any who works for First Robotics is affiliated with a First Robotics team or knows somebody who is a friend of somebody who's affiliated with a First Robotics team, let me know, because I need to coordinate with some people so that we can get some priorities in that picking of the grant. So, and I'm excited about that because that'll be my first grant, and hopefully it won't be my only grant, but would like
That's
to
cool.
get
So I want to go back a little bit. You said you want to get your friends to commit to investing.
Yes.
And when that came out of your mouth, I thought that you meant investing in your program. But now I realize you're just talking about investing. Period.
Investing. Period. We could talk about investing in my program after they first go out and invest on their own and do things. Because the thing that I've experienced, a lot of people first they don't know, they don't have access to information. Poor people suffer from a lack of information. That's the number one reason. And that's why we end up missing out on all the wealth that has been created in the stock market over the last 100 years, right? If you would have invested $1,000 in the stock market 10 years ago, it would literally be worth like $15,000 today, right? Just randomly diversifying with inflation and stuff like that. And so if we don't start investing today, then we're going to also miss out on the wealth that's created over the next 10 years and the next 20 years, 30 years. So, I'm really pushing people to, if not do something small like the Acorns app, you can just go out and even if you're buying $25 worth of stock a month, I mean, you can have $300, $400 worth of stocks, diverse stock portfolio in a year. And I guarantee you in 10, 15 years, that $300 that you invested in this year will be worth more. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get rich, but it's a mentality. And I think that if I can get more people in my circle to be thinking about investing, it's going to help us so that when we start to do some real business ventures, then we'll have more of a leg to stand on and people will be more comfortable doing that. And so that is what I'm pushing for right now. Number one goal.
Okay.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it is. I have a question for you, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
I still have an IRA from when I had a job.
I'm not a stock expert, but let's go.
No. Does that mean I'm off the hook, or do I need to keep pushing more money into the market?
It depends. So, like I said, it's all about the mentality. So, people who have 401ks or IRAs or whatever, acronym you want to throw out there, if it's one of those passive things that you just did because that's what your job offered and you did it, then technically you are an investor, but it doesn't mean you have the mentality, right? And so you're not. What I want is for people to kind of do what we do, right? So take advantage of other opportunities that come their way. And so I think, like I said, that comes from a mentality. And if you're not actively doing it or actively thinking about those opportunities, then you're going to miss those opportunities. So having that 401k, that IRA, it's good and you should have that, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have the mentality. So Bill, you are off the hook, but not because you have an IRA. You're off the hook because you're doing a podcast, you're working for yourself, you're taking advantage of other opportunities. And I'm pretty sure if we came to you with an idea like, hey, let's invest, you'd say, oh, I don't got much, but let's go for it. Right.
Yeah,
and so that is
probably
the reason why you're off the hook, not because you have an IRA.
All right.
If that answers your question.
Yeah, that
Okay.
does. It
All
does very much.
There you go.
Amy, what about you? What are you aiming for this year?
All right. Well, first of all, I think New Year's resolutions are complete trash and
Very
they're
true.
horrible and they're bad for you psychologically and most of them fail. So
Well,
I
that's
don't
why we're
think,
having goals.
yeah, I don't think you should ever make any kind of year-long resolution on the beginning of the year because it's just too difficult for you to accomplish. So what I think you should do is what I say all the time, and that's make lists. And
Mm.
stick to those lists, my friends. So you can make these goals. Yeah, see, that's great. Bill just held up a list. So you can make short-term goals, but they don't have to encompass the entire year because I just think that that's too hard. And it's much better if you can do a little thing, like say, I'm going to clean my office, which is literally on my list, that you can accomplish, then you're going to feel better about tackling the next thing on your list, right? And so I
Yes.
have a whole long list of things that I would like to do, but they're all short-term goals that I can snap through, like I want to read more, right? And I've already done that because I hate reading and I read a book and I finished it yesterday. And so it's going to be in my recommendation at the end of the episode. So I want to read more. I want to draw more. I want to do things like Robin. Hey, Robin, if you're listening, one of our listeners purchased something from my shop and she put a little note in the seller message to seller box. And it was like, I'd really love to see you make more buttons and more focal beads and stuff like that. So I'm going to do that. That's one of the things on my list because I love to listen to customers and I like to make stuff like that. So I'm going to do it. And thanks, Robin, for listening and for saying hi in the message box. And by the way, if you send me a message and say that you listen to this podcast, I send you a bunch of stickers in your box. So
Oh.
if you buy anything from my Etsy shop, say hi and say that you listen to the podcast so I know that you're listening and I'll send you some stuff. So Robin's going to get some free stickers and anyone else that mentions the podcast, I always at least send a Maker Hustle podcast sticker.
Way to go.
So I got a whole bunch of stuff that I want to do. I want to make hair clips. I want to learn how to compost. I want to clean up the house. I want to draw more, make more stuff. I want to be more political, even though people are telling me to be less political. That's on my list. More.
Yeah.
I just want to do better than I did last year. I'm going to do
Yeah.
everything a little bit more intense this
Yeah.
year than I did last year.
Yeah, I think
That's my goal.
it's so funny because I looked at, I hate social media. I think you guys know that. I hate social
Yeah,
media.
we figured that out.
And the
Yeah.
few times that I do go on social media, I especially don't do it around New Year's time because that's when everybody starts talking about the nonsense resolutions that they're
Yeah.
not going to do anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm
Oh,
going to
yeah, I'm
work
not gonna.
out and
Yeah,
I'm going to
you're not
quit
gonna do
smoking.
that. So I
Nah.
ignore social media around this time anyway. But one of the things that I happen to notice when I was going on social media recently is people kept talking about how 2016 was like a bad year. I don't know if you noticed that, if that was
Yeah.
something that, and
Yeah.
I was thinking about was my 2016 bad? And I basically stacked myself up. Like I'm in competition with myself. Like I'm a very competitive person. When I meet people, and then not to anybody's detriment. Like I won't block you from doing anything, but I always think about it from like a rival perspective. Like I don't know if you guys watch Dragon Ball Z, but I love Dragon Ball Z, and I always put myself in like the Vegeta position. Like I'm always competing against Goku. I'm always trying to find the next Goku, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway,
We have reached peak nerd. Continue.
yes, and the only reason why I said that is because I've been watching the newest version of Dragon Ball Z, and it's all in Japanese, so I don't know why I'm talking about this. The point is, I'm always in competition, and so I compete against myself. I'm my biggest critic. And I was thinking about my 2016, like, was my 2016 really that bad? And it wasn't bad. No, I don't think I've ever had a bad year because I'm always doing something better, and I'm always getting better at something, always taking advantage of new opportunities. But last year, it was a down year. Like I compare myself, and I love you guys. This had nothing to do with you. But as far as the different things that I've done, like I've shot up, like exponentially up. This year was just like a small uptick versus my usual exponential growth. So that's why I'm putting so much pressure on myself and my friend. And the reason why is because I realize that I'm no longer pushing the people around me. Like this last year, I wasn't pushing the people around me I was focused more on myself instead of pushing the people around me to do things. And that kind of, limited the amount of access to different things that I would naturally be doing. Like I wasn't going to as many networking sessions, right? I haven't done as many workshops. Like there's things that I usually do that I wasn't doing. And, this year I'm committing myself to doing more of the things that I'm used to doing that I need to get back to.
Okay.
I'm also going to figure out what the F happened with my book.
Oh, no, Amy.
Right, because like I put together an entire book, if you remember when we first started doing this podcast, that's about robots and they live on the moon and sell
the coloring book.
Yeah, it's like a storybook that you can color, right? And then I hired a graphic designer and a proofreader, and they never did the work.
Oh, no.
Did you already pay them the money?
No, and it's one of those situations where it's like a friend of mine, and so like maybe it's a bad idea to like hire your friends sometimes to do work that you actually want to get done within a year, I guess. So
yeah, it's one of those things where you can hire your friends if your deadline is whenever. If you have an actual deadline and you want to stay friends, don't hire your friends.
Lesson learned. Like I did all the work. My work's done. Like I've done all the drawings. I wrote the story. It just needs to be laid out, and it needs to have a proofreader, an editor, go through it and make sure it's okay. So, yeah, I might need to find somebody else to do that. So, yeah, that's on my list. It's like 3 on my list of stuff to get done. Is because I've done basically all the work I need to do. I mean, if there's edits, I'm happy to do that, and if there's drawings that need to be added in, I'm more than happy to do that because I love to draw. Yeah. But so I got to figure out what happened with that.
No, that's
okay.
funny.
New Year.
A couple of things. First of all, you're talking about making lists and short-term goals. That's something that I need to do better because as somebody like I have ADHD, I haven't been shy about it. I've mentioned it a few times. I mean, I don't let it like dominate the conversation. I don't think, but one of the things that really helps me get stuff done is like that zap of like satisfaction when you actually get to check something off.
Yes, I love
and so
that too.
having small like achievable tasks on the list that you can like in a given day you can be like done.
Yes.
It feels good. It feels really good. If everything is this huge long-term goal, then it feels like you're never moving. You're never getting anything done, and that sucks.
That's depressing.
Yeah. It's bad for your mental health.
Yeah, so like this whole thing I said I want to do a video per week every week. It sounds like a big goal, like a big year-long goal, but it's also something that I can check off every week, just like publishing this podcast is something that I can check off every week. Like if the podcast is out on Monday morning, then I did my job.
That's a glass half full answer.
Check. But in the meantime, I'm trying to incorporate more larger projects, so like this whole steel Adirondack chair, now I have to do it. I told everybody I was going to do it. So that was one of those things that I'm trying to teach myself how to do a larger project by basically imposing a completely arbitrary deadline, but then telling everyone about it so that I'm going to get pestered if I don't do it.
Question.
But talking about big stuff... Oh, go ahead.
No, go on. It was just a question about the chair.
Oh, okay. Well, the one big thing that people bring up, like once or twice a week is the book. Like I'm writing a book about Jimmy. And I brought up the idea of the book with Jimmy in May at Maker Faire, where I met the two of you. And then I really got serious, like for real about it. I did an outline and everything, and I started writing, but I really got seriously into it in like October, because I went to visit him for a week. And when I came home, I was just like on fire about the book. And I have a ton of notes, and I have a ton of research that I did when I was there, and it's just really great stuff. But I think people don't realize how long it actually takes to write a book. Yeah. Like when you look at if you Google how long does it take to write a book, the answer is like a year. But that's a year of kind of that's all you're doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I still think I still think a year is an achievable number for me, just because when I write a lot. I don't write every day, which I know is like technically a bad habit, but that's not the way that I work. But it'll be rolling around in the back of my head for a week, and then I'll sit down and like slam out 2 or 3 chapters like it was nothing, and then I go back to edit it later, and I don't have anything that I want to change because it was like, oh, it came out perfect, yay. But it's because it's like rolling around in the back of my head all week long, which is really frustrating from the outside because everyone's like, how's the book going? I'm like, oh, it's going. Well, do you have anything? No, it's just, it's going. You just trust the process, man. I've been doing this for 10 years. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it makes me feel like, well, what if it doesn't happen? So my goal is this book needs to be like done and on the shelf before the end of the year. Not just finished a draft, but like done out. You can go buy it by the end of the year. And that's kind of like my big thing.
Ooh.
I have a friend who's an author named Scott Sigler, and I don't know how he does it, but that guy puts out multiple books every year. He's going to be releasing 3 books this summer. It blows my mind. Like, I don't want to by any means diminish what you just said, but like, how?
Yeah, no, I've never met him, and I already hate that guy.
he's
I was sitting there
fantastic.
thinking, like, geez,
Scott Sigler, he's a horror author. He's a best-selling author. The guy's a genius, but it's just like, it boggles my mind how, like, the work ethic that guy has. He seriously, like, every day just churns out thousands and thousands of words.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't either.
But the thing is, that's not the only way to be successful at that, because you've got somebody like, what's his name? Oh, George R.R. Martin, right? Mm-hmm. Hasn't put out a book in years, because everyone's waiting for him to finish the next, I know it's not called Game of Thrones, but that's the TV show. But, they're waiting for him to finish the next one. He hasn't put anything out in
the book's not
forever.
called Game of Thrones? It's based on a book not called Game of Thrones.
The first book was called A Game of Thrones, but that's what they called the TV show.
Oh.
But, like, he puts out a book whenever. It's been years.
Yeah, I'm gonna need him to speed that up.
Whenever.
I'm gonna need him to speed that up because.
Well, it's like there's a running joke with his fans. Every time he gets interviewed anywhere, all of his fans say, "Yeah, stop doing interviews and go finish the book."
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I guess what I was trying to say is I'm in awe of Scott Sigler for putting out 3 books a year, but. You don't need to, but you don't need to do that in order to make a living.
Yeah. You guys would really like his books, by the way. They're super
I'm sure
cool.
I would. I intend to check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can barely read.
He's a madman and a genius, and he writes these really intense, scientifically accurate horror novels, and they're so cool. So if you're into that, check it out.
Yeah. Question, Bill.
Yo.
When you do your when you do anything really. Is your process to draw, or do you CAD it? Like, and do you 3D model it, or do you just, I got wood, let's see if this works?
I usually sketch it on my workbench with a Sharpie.
I want to see your workbench.
So
you like draw right on your workbench?
Yeah, just on my workbench with a Sharpie.
So what happens when you run out of space on the workbench?
Sand it off.
Oh my god, that's so cool. That should be a project in itself. That should be a time lapse where you should take a picture of that like every so often and then like phase through it. That would be so cool.
Well, it's that's one of the things that I noticed Laura Kampf does that all the time. Like if you watch her videos, you can see like her writing from previous projects is still there. You know?
I love it.
So that's really cool.
I love that.
Mine is a lot less interesting than that, but that way like if I'm drawing something out, I'll have a Sharpie and a ruler and I'll just sketch it out. And if I need like, well, okay, what do I want the angle to be? Well, the angle in the drawing looked okay, so I'll just measure it directly off the drawing and then go apply it to the actual thing. Because, like, why am I going to overcomplicate it? If I draw it out in CAD, I'm still going to screw it up.
I'm not trying to knock your hustle, bro. I'm not trying to knock.
I get it.
What you just said, I just thought about how that applies to me and how I think about, like, oh, well, the angle worked in my picture or in the CAD model, and then I print it out, and it looks terrible. It doesn't work. I'm like, gee. So I end up printing like 50 different versions of something. But no, that's super funny. I'm always interested in people's process and try to see where you can, kind of take things here and there to kind of help your process either get a little smoother or a little bit more effective. So I always ask people about their process.
What you said about competing against yourself, I think this year I really need to now I kind of have a consistent idea of what I want to do every week. Like I have my agency representation thing that I got to do every week. I got to do this show every week. I'm going to get a video out every week. Now I need to really nail my process down on all of those things. The podcast is actually pretty nailed down. Like production wise, I can sit down for 2 hours and the show's done. So that's cool. But like getting videos out every week also means working on my editing skills, getting faster at that. And then the other thing that I really want to do this year is last year I was not the best husband in the world, okay? Because I was focused so incredibly hard on what I was doing, like to try to build a business, I was neglecting a bunch of other stuff that was also important. So I would like to learn how to balance better.
We should do an episode on work-life balance. Have we done that?
We did.
We did?
We
and
did.
It didn't help us?
It helped, but it also made me realize exactly how much of a problem that is and how hard I have to work on it. So I think I just, it's fine to like do that sprint, but you can't sprint forever.
Yeah.
So
Trust
like
me,
I
I
did
tried.
my
I
sprint
ran
last
track in
year.
college.
Last year was the sprint.
High
Like
school,
I'm
I mean.
established now enough that I can rebalance things and kind of, I don't know, just try to be fair to everyone in my life, especially my wife, who has been so incredibly supportive of this whole thing and is basically supporting my ass even now. So I would like to be better about that.
Well,
And, so I'm starting with small stuff like taking care of repotting the plants and hanging up a new light fixture, which is what I said at the top of the show.
well, I'm happy that you understand that, and I think that's something I also need to work on too. Now that you say that, I'm thinking about it like, yeah, I did hear it a few times. And
we got to be good to our family, because without them we'd be like living in a ditch building robots or making
We'd
stuff
be
out
all
of wood.
living together, and we'd hate each other.
Yeah, and it would be
probably
really
get a lot of
dirty,
work
and there would be
done,
no
though.
clean dishes,
There'd be no clean dishes.
and it hasn't been vacuumed in years, and all the
Take
animals
out
are
every
hungry.
day.
No, but we got Jeff and Roomba. I have one Roomba that needs to be repaired, so I need Jeff to come over anyway, but that's how we would vacuum. We would have robots.
I would just,
That-
like aim the shop vac at the room, and all right, we're done.
We just blow it out.
Yep.
Just use the
we
blow
melt all the
feature.
plates and make new plates. We just eat off of the necklaces.
Hey, yeah, I'll just make a large necklace.
Eat
I
off
have a
the
wheel. I could make us dishes.
Yeah, we just eat off the necklaces. We can make little knives and forks.
Oh, this is a really bad idea.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna start
We
making
need our
tiny knives
significant
now.
Others. Yeah, we need our significant others.
Yeah, it's definitely
Make
true.
it all worthwhile. Really, that's what all the hard work is for.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, that's definitely something to add to my list. I'm gonna put that. I think I'm gonna make my list and put it somewhere big so I can see it every day.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that. If I have a list of, or even if I have something that I've decided I want this to be more important in my life, whatever it is, I'll write it down and I'll tape it to the back of the bedroom door so I have to walk past it every day.
Yeah.
Just something as simple as that. If you have to read it every single day, it's a lot harder to forget.
I used to live with an artist, a photographer friend of mine who's actually a cinematographer now. He's quite famous, but we shared
You and
a
your
space.
famous friends.
I know. Well, anyway, his name's Chris Blauvelt. He's filmed like a million awesome movies. The guy's fantastic. But we used to share an art space together, and we taped on the TV a big, with like a Sharpie, we wrote, "You got better things to do," and we just taped it over the TV so that we would get more work done. Yeah. So I recommend that.
I would have
It
taped
works
it
really
underneath
well.
the TV. So
No,
as I'm watching
no.
TV,
It's
I'm
right.
like,
It's-
yeah, I do
no.
have better things to do, but I'm really enjoying watching TV right now.
We were artists and we were gonna get stuff done, and that was that. We were like anti-television at the time or something. I don't know. Punk rock. I don't know.
Oh, that's funny. All right.
So, yeah, I'm glad that we're all setting goals. And the important thing about goals is that to make them achievable, you break them down into small parts, and then you make a plan about how you're going to do them. I don't know if you remember, this was back in like the first few episodes, I recommended David Welder and Jocko Whatever. And they had this saying where they said, "F dreams, make plans."
Yeah.
You remember that?
I love it.
Well, I'm
should
just
be
going
a
to say that
tattoo.
again. Yeah, I'm going to say that again. F dreams, make plans.
Yes. I'm gonna write that down and stick it on the TV.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll stick it under the TV.
All right. Well, I am super motivated now, so I want to get back to work. So
Yeah.
let's do our recommendations and then call this a
right.
day.
All right, cool.
So,
Want me to go first?
I'll go first. Mine's is short and sweet. Mine's is short and sweet. Hey,
All right.
I'm on a roll here.
Yeah, you are.
So my recommendation is udemy.org. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but it's like a platform to let you learn any type of thing, almost any type of thing. I haven't seen anything that I was looking for that I couldn't find. But if you're looking for any type of online classes, right now, Udemy has a promotion, and I think I saw that it was until January 11th. So hopefully we'll be done. This will be out by then. But any class that you're looking for $10, I just bought
Whoa.
13 classes, $130 worth of classes. That regular price would have cost $1,500. $1,500, and they have, they vary in content, and whether it's all videos, whether it's videos and reading or whatever. But I've got probably about 200-300 hours worth of content that I'm going to be watching over the next couple weeks. And that's, like I said, what I was going to be working on this week. I'm going to be doing a lot of research, just seeing how other people are creating how-tos and educating and different things like that. Because like I said, I've never been to school on robotics or programming. I'm all self-taught. And so to learn from people who actually develop curriculums, as opposed to just watching a couple of YouTube videos and reading different articles online, I'm going to actually be taking some classes for the first time. So I'm excited about that. So, and this is actually, to me, not going to advocate for this. I want everybody to do what they have to do. But I think that taking opportunities to educate yourself like this adds a lot more value, or at least more bang for your buck, than going to college. I don't think everybody needs to go to college. I think there's a lot of things that you can do by teaching yourself, especially things like programming. Like, there's a lot of people out here who are getting jobs after going to like a development boot camp for 19 weeks, and they're ending up with $80,000, $90,000 jobs. And it's because they're teaching you the things that the employer wants, as opposed to going to 8 years of college and learning all these abstract things. So if you're interested in learning something new or getting more information on something that you already know, and they're not paying me for this, so they need to throw us a check for this, but Udemy.org is having a sale on all their classes, $10 until January 10th or 11th. So get a course, learn something new, be great this year, people.
Yeah.
So I'm an advocate of education, and I think that people should go to college if they can, but I totally agree with what you're saying. And I had an art teacher that I absolutely adored when I was in junior college. I never went to a regular university. I just went to a couple different junior colleges, and I studied graphic design. And my very, very favorite teacher told me one day, he said, "Amy, I know you can't afford to go to one of the big universities, and that's why you're here, but I want you to know that nobody..." He knew. Yeah, he knew I was poor. I mean, had like 3 jobs when I was going to school. It was ridiculous. So he's like, "Look, I know it's rough for you, and I just want you to know that when you go out there looking for a job, don't freak out. Nobody ever asks in the art community to see like if you're going to be a teacher or something, yes, but if you're going out for a graphic design job, which is basically a computer job, no one's going to ask to see your diploma. They're going to ask to see your portfolio."
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Nobody's asked me for mine yet.
You show them what you can do. You don't have to show them where you've been. You show them what you can do.
Yes.
And that really helped me get through a lot in life, and it worked out well for me. So my recommendation on that note of being self-taught is that I have, like I said earlier, decided that I'm going to read more. And I'm actually part of a book club. And I host a book club at my art studio once a month. So it's funny that I say that I don't like to read, but I really don't, because I would much rather be drawing. Whenever my eyes are on something, I could be getting work done. So for me, reading a book is much like watching a movie or watching TV. Like, a book is taking away from time when I could be drawing. So it's really hard for me to sort of focus and stop myself and read a book. But I am trying to do just that so that I can learn more about a lot of things that I don't know about. And one of those things is political activism in art. It's something that's really drawn my attention in the last few months. And I've never really considered myself a political artist, even though I guess I kind of am. But I just got this book. My mother gave it to me for Christmas, which was so sweet. It's called Seeing Power, Art and Activism in the 21st Century. And it's by a guy named Nato Thompson. And it was really fascinating. And it's like art theory, but it's also practical things that you can do if you're an artist and you want to break into that museum scene, or if you want to do things like take over spaces. So it's really interesting. It talks a lot about the movements of like when they took over Wall Street and they would do all the Occupy stuff. It talks a lot about that, and it also talks about that in terms of the art world. And it ends, right at Black Lives Matter, But, obviously everything that's happened since then didn't make it into the book, but I'm fascinated, and now I want to like track this guy down and see what he thinks about the current situation and where artists are today. But it was a really fascinating, quick, easy to read art theory book, so we'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
So learn stuff. Yeah.
What was I going to say? I had a comment based on what you were saying. Oh, right. You were just on MakerCast, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that John, the host of that show, likes to say is he's a big fan of, think it over before you just go straight to college.
Yes.
And what he says is, he doesn't have anything against college as long as you have a reason for going or a plan.
Yeah.
Right. If you know what you're going to get out of it before you go in, that is how you end up with a job at the end and not a pile of debt and no idea.
Yes.
Right.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is coming from somebody with 2 degrees. And I went to school longer than most people have to go to school. So I have a bachelor's, I have a master's, and I value both degrees. Actually, I didn't go to my master's graduation, and I was forced to go to my graduation for undergrad, but that's not the point. I think that a lot of people assume that this is the only way to be productive, and they don't explore other. And it's part of the reason because that's how we communicate. We say you have to go to college to get a job so that you can work for 60 years, right? And so part of the thing that when I say we need to talk about investing with my friends is getting people to, educate themselves and consider, because most of my friends didn't go to college. Some of my friends, well, really, most of my friends didn't graduate from high school, but a lot of my friends didn't graduate from college. So I've been buying, because of the sale, I've bought a lot of my friends classes. Like I've texted them today, like, yo, there's a sale. I need you to go and find the class. You tell me what class you want and I'm going to pay for it. I've already paid for like 7 classes today. So it is.
That is so nice.
And part of it is not because I think that they're going to learn something new, but I want them to go through that, experience that, and then be inspired by that and say, oh, well, this was consumable. I can do this. And maybe that'll get them to go and do another class. So it's always about how can we trigger something new, some type of inspiration. So, yeah, but yes, I don't think everybody needs to go to college. If you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, I'm not letting you do anything for me unless you went to college. Right? Yeah. But, some things I don't think it's a requirement. And I think as we as a society move towards things like certification programs, boot camps, things like that are more immersive and more focused on what people are actually using in the workplace, I think we're going to kind of pivot away from everybody having to go to college and valuing those type of certifications at the same time. And that is actually my hope, because
that's what I did. I got certified in graphic design. It wasn't an actual degree, it was 4 years of art classes because it took me that long to get through it. But then, I got certified as a graphic designer. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like that.
Yeah. All right, so my recommendation for the week is a YouTube channel by a guy named William Walker. The thing about his videos is that there's always a narrative, there's always a story. And he just did a video about, he built basically a kitchen step stool for his daughter, who's very, young. And the project just did not go the way that he planned it. And he left all the mistakes in and then talked about how he got past them. And it's a really well done video, and like it feels like a triumph at the end of it because he got through the whole thing,
Nice.
So it's one of those channels where you watch it and you either want to go make stuff or you feel less bad about the time that you tried to make something and screw it up. I think it's a positive note to start off the year with. So William Walker, go check that out.
All right.
Nice.
So I think we're at the point where we wrap this thing up, but before we do that, why don't we talk about where everybody can find you? And I'm going to say, Jeff, go first.
All right. Well, thank you for being so considerate, Bill. If you're looking for me on any type of social media, you can find me at more4, the F being the number 4. Quick and easy, baby. Quick and easy. Getting better at that, too.
Yeah. Amy?
I am at Surly Amy on pretty much all social media and Patreon. On Etsy, I'm just surly.etsy.com. And if any of that's too difficult, just go to surly-ramics.com. It's a portal to everything that I do.
Now you sound like the complicated one.
I just added extra stuff in there. I don't need to.
All right, here's how you find me. Go to your social media platform of choice, type in One Car Workshop, and there I am.
See, I should just say that.
Ta-da.
Surly
No,
Amy.
no. Keep doing what you do. I was joking. I don't want you to feel. I don't want to change you.
Aw.
All right.
You've already changed me, man.
Oh,
For
well.
the better.
I try. Try to touch one. Each one reach one.
Ah.
All right, that's it for this week. If you're listening to the show on iTunes, please take a moment, leave us a rating, tell us what you think. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Makers Hustle. If you want to ask a question, give us some feedback, or suggest a show topic, you can contact us through social media or send an email to info@makershustlepodcast.com. Once again, thank you so much for listening. We love having you here, and while this show might be over, the hustle never
stops.
And by the way, just for the record, I am the sexiest nerd on the planet. I'm just saying. You can take that
noted.
out. I just wanted to put that in there.
No, that's staying in.
Noted.
I just wanted you
See you
guys
next
to
week,
know.
everybody.
I did go
It's
full-blown
true.
nerd today,
It's
Yeah.
true.
but I am the sexiest nerd on the planet.
It's true.
So.